Welcome to the Hot Rod Hangout YouTube channel. As promised, me and Ashley went down and picked up 2 York compressors. I'm not a York aficionado, so I don't know if they're 209s or 210s. I do know that the 2 compressors we picked up are slightly different. We do have one tore apart just to try to figure it out so I didn't look like a silly person on tryouts or first try. But we're going to take this apart. I'll take you through it on doing the oil mod to use it as an engine driven compressor. On the 12-point bolts, we figured out that the inside ones are slightly longer than the outside, but all the rest of the top bolts are the same length. That one come off way easier than the other one did. So if you look on top of the compressor, you have an S for suction. That's your suction side. And then the other one had a D. This one doesn't. So it's just, or it does have it in really soft letters. If it was cleaner, you could probably read it better, but it says discharge. Because of it being a York compressor, you can mount it anywhere between vertical and horizontal 90 degrees. So you can mount it on its side, you can mount it vertical. The one thing, and I don't know if it matters so much on an air ride system, but the one thing that you got to pay attention to is your suction side has to be up. So obviously vertical doesn't matter, they're both up. You know, if you mounted it this way, you'd want your suction side up. Again, I don't know if it matters on a air compressor side, using it for like an air ride system or onboard air. So this also applies to off-road guys as well. So judging by how easy that just came off, I'm going to assume that this compressor has been rebuilt. Like the gasket's not even sticking. The other gasket was sticking really hard. Alright, and we're back. So essentially, this is your reed plate. So as one piston pulls down, it opens it up, it lets air in the one valve on top. It goes into your chamber. This piston goes down, sucks the other valve open. This one goes up, pushes up on it. Air goes across the top of your head. And then air will come out the other side. If, like I was saying earlier, if your compressor is suction down, you can take the pins out and rotate this. So this is how it was when we took it off. So suction on this side, discharge on that side. If you want it to be the other way, the bolts do line up, but it takes away the locating pins. Fortunately for us, ours is going to mount on its side, but the suction side is up the right way. So essentially, as your belt is turning, pistons pumping, that's what makes the reeds go up and down, which will suck from this side across your head and discharge out this side. The oil mod that we're referencing is right there. That little hole, that's actually a crankcase breather, which is why there's oil in both sides right now that we're going to eliminate, because you don't want oil in your air ride. So just going over the compressor, you have a bolt here that you can use to fill it. There's a bolt on the other side that you can use to fill it. It only takes 12 ounces. So if you mount it in a vertical situation like this, you would have to make a dipstick that kind of runs down in there. These are not your fill hole. Like on a rear end, you would fill it till it came out of the hole and that would be full. On these, that's not the case. The oil level is only going to be about down here because it uses a sling style system. It slings oil up to get into the piston. There is no oil control ring. So even with the oil mod, it's still going to allow oil to get on top of your piston, so you are going to have a little bit of oil in your system. That just alleviates it sucking it into the air system. So now that we have this apart, we will get all the old gaskets off, clean it up, paint them, make them pretty, and then we'll get back with you on the oil mod, and then we'll put some gaskets back in it, stick it on there, and see if we actually know what we're talking about or not. Alright, so we left off with, we'd gotten it all apart, and we're going to clean it up. So Ashley got it cleaned up. We didn't get all the paint off of it because I didn't want to use aircraft stripper and stuff like that, and we're going to paint it anyway. So she just got the heavy off, but looks, I mean, pretty clean. Probably if I could have got it all off, I might have left it silver just because. But so now we're going to do the oil mod. So normal circumstance, I know I went over this before, but normal circumstance, you would have oil down in your case. It's a sling lubricant, so it would sling up on the bottom. There's no oil retain for the pistons. So you would get some oil up on the top side of the pistons, and also if you come in and look, that hole right there is, if you follow it down, it goes down into the crank. So also you would get air as the suction side, you would get air, as air was getting sucked across, it would suck some oil to also lubricate the top side. Well, in an air compressor application, we don't want oil. We don't, you know, the hoses that we're using, you know, the refrigerant in an AC system requires the oil, it lubricates it. On the new style pumps, this one has its own separate oil source. Therefore, this is why we're using this to make an air compressor. So what I did here was, this is the set screw. It's a 10/32 Allen head. So I took and I taped off the drill bit because we don't have to go real deep. I did go a little bit above it so we don't bottom it out, and hopefully it's flush just for aesthetics purposes. Some people just use a sheet metal screw, and I also did the same on the tap to know how far down I need to be able to bury the plug. So my tape rode up, so I probably went a little too deep anyway. All right, so we have the hole drilled out. Kind of looks like there's already threads in it. There's not. So we're gonna tap, and I don't have the square drive, or I have it, I just can't find it. So tried to find a socket that would fit it, didn't work. It's like 4.5 millimeters, but so we're just gonna have to try to do it the best we can with what we have. It's not really rocket science, you know, if we're just trying to eliminate as much oil as we can. So again, this isn't perfect. You know, obviously I would rather have something to drive it with, but I guess I made a thread.
We made a thread.
I guess. I'm not just coming back out easy. All right.
Look at that.
So now we'll get an Allen wrench. So there's the finished product. Now, before we paint it, we're gonna put new gaskets, put it back together. That way I don't have to worry about trying to mask off big engine parts, crank bearings, everything like that. Alrighty, so it's a little hard. The one thing I will say we didn't rebuild was this side. They do make a bushing and stuff like that, but these were used compressors and I didn't see any leaking and we just didn't get into it. So we're not going to use all of the gaskets that are in the kit, but so this round plate sits on the bearing hole, and then there's a O-ring. With the way the bolts are spaced, there's only one way to put it back on. And it seemed like the last little bit kind of didn't want to go all the way down, so I'm using the bolts to pull it in, but I'm kind of trying to go down evenly. So a little bit here, a little bit here, you know, try to walk it down. Because essentially that is your crank bearing kind of end. That bearing fits in that little groove in the back of that cover. So if it's not, if you look at it, it's flush now. Your O-ring, as I was pushing it down, when I got it to that point where I started to use those bolts to bring it down, I made sure that the O-ring was all the way up so you didn't have to worry about it rolling down. So that side is done. So you got metal gasket. Again, your dowel pins, if you go ahead and put them in, because we're not changing the orientation, the suction was on the right side, correct side rather. So if you do it that way, you can't put these gaskets on upside down. Again, same thing, your dowel pins. And then you can kind of cheat and see if you forgot. And then your cover. And this is where the suction side matters. So if you look on the bottom of your thing, you got your gasket. It looks, you know, you can see where the gasket's supposed to seal. And also, you got your pins to locate them. Now, on this style, you have 4 bolts on the top. The 2 outside bolts are just a little bit shorter. So your long ones go in the center, short ones go on the outside. I'm switching tools. We'll get the bolts started. And started. Just to make sure everything's on the perpendicular.
Now we're gonna press fast forward with a different tool.
And all of your long bolts, these are all the same size. Then you have 2 tiny little O-rings that go on your filler holes, which I'm going to go ahead and install both of them. This side, I'm just going to do hand tight because we have to add oil to it. And then this side, fresh O-ring. Just a couple ugga duggas on that. And then the bottom. So gasket's got a little lip right there. I don't really know why, because the case doesn't have that lip, but the bottom has that same lip. And then all of these bolts are also the same size. And these 4 holes that are empty, you could actually use that if you were going to mount it vertical. So, you know, obviously you can literally mount it any way you want. So, we chose there's a couple different ways that you can go about running your fittings. You can tap the inside of these to a 3/8 NPT and then just run your 90 degrees. Or we found these. So these fittings are the AC fittings, and it's got a tube type and then an O-ring. And these have a tube type and an O-ring. And they're 1/2 inch NPT. So we chose to go with this just to make it a little more, because I didn't want to try to tap these. The other style, I'll have Ashley put a picture in here. The other style, these 2 bolt holes here actually hold a fitting on, and if that was the style, then we could have just had an NPT and it would have worked right from there. But suction side S, we're just going to run a filter. That won't be in this video, but that's what we're doing. And then the bottom side is going to be a 1/2 inch or a 3/8 NPT, not 1/2 inch. My mistake. The leader hose from a compressor, a normal electric compressor, which we happen to have 2 of them in the trunk that we're getting rid of. So we're going to use the leader hose. Actually, I'm leaving 1 for a backup just in case something was to ever fail. Car don't run and I need to air it up, I can still get air in it. So leader hose off of this side to a water trap, which will do 2 things. It'll trap the water, as well as if there's a little bit of oil in it, it'll catch it. We can drain it out, no biggie. I'm not 100% sure whether we're gonna go down off of the motor or back with the leader hose, so I'm gonna leave that one loose, but I know for sure that this one's gonna go straight back, so I'll go ahead and tighten it up. Okay. All right, and we're back. So Ashley got it all masked off. I painted it. We just went with like a matte black finish. That's kind of what I've been using to spray the firewall and stuff like that. So didn't really want it to draw attention to it, so we just kind of matched it with what else we were using. Under the hood is kind of matte, so that's what we went with. All right. So first, your clutch. We are mounting it with this side up. So I'm just gonna run the wire out this side. The 6-rib pulley that we bought came with new hardware. I can't speak for any other. It came with this little wire retainer that I'm going to put on the top. That way this can sit like that. We'll end up having to change that end out. So on the 6-rib pulley and also on the compressor, there's a little keyway. You can see it from the top. Just line the keyway up and push that on. And just a word for the wise, you cannot put the bolts in even with a flat wrench. The bolts do not fit if you still have the pulley on. New washer, new bolt. Not the right size. Just kidding. So now that it's together, you can still see that the pulley moves freely. The clutch is what actually turns the piston up and down to be able to produce air. All right, guys, so this is gonna end the video. Got a little bit accomplished on the 3-day weekend. Not as much as I wanted to. Ran into some part failures, whether it was shipping or just parts that wouldn't work. But just to update. So we got the LS3 water pump, which will put the filler on the driver's side. Still may have to change the bottom thermostat housing just to be able to swivel, or maybe come straight out to be able to get to the radiator that we have. The bracket on the left is the compressor bracket for that compressor that we've been rebuilding. I got the valve covers, the coils mounted, new spark plugs, both sets of manifolds, or the set of manifolds mounted. Doing a filter and a low profile pan for the transmission, because the 1-inch down pan that comes factory was actually laying on the ground. We got firewall painted, AC panel blocked off, brake booster painted because it was starting to get rusty. We did get the steering figured out, but I don't have the piece in there yet. I got motor mounts tight and bolted on, ready to go. Stay tuned to next week's video for some more updates. I'm hoping to be able to drive this car for my birthday. Another supporter of the podcast, shout out to Andrew and Knuckles Novak. They're having a little birthday shindig for her, which happens to be the same weekend as my birthday. So I'm hoping to be able to drive the Caddy over there. Obviously, it's not going to be completely done. It's not going to be painted, nothing like that. Still going to look a little raggedy. But just want to put some miles on it before I take it up to Psycho Fab and we start putting some paint and primer on it. It's probably just going to get primered first. I'll drive it around like that for a little while. And then it'll go back up there and let him do his touch. But till next time, guys, thank y'all again. Like, comment, subscribe, all that other YouTube shit. And thank y'all so much. Till next time, guys, get out, drive a shit. Later.